Yeah.
Well, let's jump to 1990 with Maniac Cop 2.
Okay.
That that movie, talk about stunt sequences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even more elaborate and more impressive
With
effects.
fire.
And this was I love the concept of this movie too. Also written by Larry Cohen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was you bring in this crazy serial killer played by Leo Rossi.
Yeah.
And so this kind of cool little kind of like teaming up of the crazy kind of bearded serial killer and towering Robert Zadar.
Well, we kind of based that on Son of Frankenstein.
Oh.
Leo Rossi
right.
was our Igor.
I see.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Now, and the thing I love too is also it's like the Maniac Cop ends, and now Maniac Cop 2, it continues on. It's
Yeah.
a story, and I
Right.
love you still have Bruce Campbell in it. You still have-
Although I do have to ask this, Maniac Cop closes like on St. Patrick's Day or in that period. Maniac Cop 2 is a day or two later, and it's Christmas time.
oh
Yeah, Bill.
yeah. Leave it for James. Bill.
Bill, how dare
Or
you?
did
It was a jump cut. That you didn't see.
I didn't know if I missed something.
Wow, you're a
That-
rough critic.
Oh my gosh.
That is tough. And, but I will figure you're way in the minority.
He usually is.
It's a great movie, and again, talk about not just returning Lauren Landon and Bruce Campbell, but you got Robert Davi, Claudia Christian, Michael Lerner, Clarence Williams III.
Right.
Another great cast.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Although one of my issues, though, without giving too much away, because I do want listeners to see this, is there's some characters that it surprises me that they're not through the whole film, you know.
Right.
Well,
right.
And it kind of made me mad, Bill, when that happened. I got pissed.
Well,
I did.
Wouldn't you be more pissed if you had characters who had gone through this adventure in the
Yeah.
first movie,
Yeah.
and you have to somehow manufacture another dilemma for them in the second movie that somehow starts to feel forced versus having fresh new characters to follow and a new
I don't know.
Because then it
It's-
becomes just every sequel formula.
No.
Well, I like
there's-
the fact that it was a different plot, very different plot in the second one, which is good. I think it keeps it fresh.
Well,
You know?
and it
And
does.
Robert Davi's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
How did you end up getting him?
Well, it's funny. I knew Robert. I wasn't friends with him, but I had met him in New York, in passing, and
He's done a ton of work. That guy.
I was. What happened was we went into pre-production on Maniac Cop 2, and while in pre-production, a legal matter arose, which we had to freeze.
Uh-huh.
We had to shut it down, and what happened is, you know, I just was, you know, I'm biting at the bit. I'm ready. Again, this was a good script. I really felt, you know, we were moving forward. This was going to be a really good movie. I was excited. We have a much bigger budget.
Real
than
franchise
the first.
potential
Yeah,
here.
totally.
Right?
Yeah, we had a much bigger picture than the budget than the first one.
Right.
I was really getting jazzed. Spiro, we were talking about how we were going to do this,
Yeah.
that, you know, really getting jazzed, and then suddenly we had to stop, and it was like we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a rights issue, and anyway, so I was home, and I would often get calls from my crew. Hey, Bill, how you doing? When do you think we're going to start up again? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And it was sort of like I would be revisiting what I didn't want to talk about.
Yeah.
I wanted to be alone. You know, I understood that they were loyal and they were great people, but I really didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got an opportunity to escape. I was offered a jury position at a film festival in France.
Wow.
Nice.
So before they could say anything, I said, I'm there. And I knew Paris pretty well. I had been there several times. And actually won Best Director for Maniac Cop
Hey.
It's
at a
awesome.
major Paris Film Festival. It was the big one there. Anyway, so I didn't win Best Picture, but I won Best Director. Best Picture was the Catherine Bigelow film, Near Dark.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, good company.
So, I'm at the film festival, and I contact the distributor of Maniac Cop, and I said, hey, I'm in France, and and they said, oh, let's have lunch, So I'm walking to their office, and their office was off the Champs-Élysées, and I'm walking up the Champs-Élysées, and I notice the billboard for License to Kill. And I see I see Robert Davi.
Right, that's the
As the villain there.
Right.
I'm going, wow, that's great. Robert is the villain now in the Bond film, and that's really great. I'm really happy for him. I had seen him in Die Hard, and I knew he was moving up, and he was getting a lot of work, which it wasn't the case when I had met him in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to the distributor's office, and we're talking about, I'm telling him, we're in pre-production on Maniac Cop 2. I didn't want to go into all the gory details, just that it was going to happen, and we were going to start shooting soon. And of course, the question came up, who's in the movie? And I said, Robert Davi. Robert Davi. Oh, they got all excited. Robert Davi. Oh, yes. And so, after lunch, I speed back to the hotel. I called Los Angeles, speak to someone. I said, I got to get a script to Robert Davi.
Wow.
So, Robert Davi was making a movie in Brazil at the time. I think it was called Amazonia or something. It was with Ray Don Chang. And he was in Brazil. They got him a script. I'm back in Los Angeles, and we connect. Robert Davi, we were connected, I think, by his agent or something. And Robert Davi goes, I like the script, I like the character, but does it have to be called Maniac Cop 2?
Now, did he make it a condition that he also had to wear a fedora? How was his wardrobe decided?
Okay, good question. So I said to Robert, I said, look, I said, I understand your position, but that's how the film is being sold. And I said, that title stays. I said, I want you to be on board. I said, we're going to have a great time. We're going to shoot in New York. That's his hometown, too. He was living in Los Angeles. I said, I'll put you up in a really good hotel, and we'll have some fun. And we liked each other.
Mm-hmm.
We really did. We kind of, we bonded. And so when you asked about his wardrobe, I said, Robert, you are Robert Ryan in On Dangerous Ground.
Okay.
And so all his wardrobe was based on Robert Ryan and On Dangerous Ground.
Wow.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he's later claimed that it was Popeye Doyle that I said. It just wasn't. He misspoke.
Yeah.
Right?
I think Popeye had like a pork pie.
Well, I think he got confused because at one time I described the movie to him as Frankenstein meets the French Connection.
I can see. Yeah, I can see.
And so he thought of himself as Pop, but actually it was Robert Ryan. It was supposed to be that kind of a moody, moody noirish character.
Yeah, smoking.
So that's the story of Robert Davi.
But again, it's another film. It's another film where you got a little more money, but still, you went all out with stunts.
The
there's
action
a
set
sequence.
pieces.
Yeah, there's a sequence there that takes place in a prison
Yeah.
where the Maniac Cop is on fire.
Right.
Yeah, brings a new definition to fire.
And I'm
Really
watching,
elaborate
and then a prisoner gets kind of tossed at him, who also catches on fire. I mean, and they're still fighting.
Inside an enclosed space.
I mean, Bill, I was watching this, going, oh my god! I mean, it's just another stunt stuff. I mean,
that took about 3 days. That one little section.
Yeah.
Took 3 days to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Conceptually, it was based on The Thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
James Harden.
Totally. Oh yeah,
Runs out
Noel
of
loved
snow.
it.
Comes
Yes.
in and then he bursts through the wall.
Yes.
I mean, those were the beats that I was thinking of.
Sure.
The door
Awesome.
crashing in.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on fire.
Yeah.
But I decided we have to take it and amplify it.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So that's what happened. So it is what it is. I mean, we lit the people on fire. They were protected.
It doesn't look it though. I swear to God.
The only thing that really was kind of interesting was I mean, it was very time consuming.
Yeah.
Because with this kind of thing, you have to have multiple cameras.
Yeah.
And you don't go to the stunt people. We're ready. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's whenever they're ready to go.
Right.
Okay, we're ready to go. Give us the 5, 10, 15-minute warning. Everybody's in position.
Yeah. Good
Line 'em
filmmaker
up.
tip. Don't rush.
Don't rush the people who are about to be on fire.
I mean, it's just really common sense. You don't do that. Anyway, so it was just time consuming. We just had to do it. It took as long as it took to do it. We couldn't rush it. There were a couple of things that were interesting. I operated the camera on one of the shots that my camera operator didn't want to do, which is where the camera is inside a cell.
Yeah.
And it sort of dollies back a little bit as the monster reaches in to
Yes.
grab the guy.
Yes.
And it was all like, it was so enclosed that my cameraman got a little claustrophobic and didn't want to do it.
Interesting.
So I shouldn't have. But one of the interesting things was I wanted Leo Rossi to at least have a tie-in shot for getting on fire. So the monster reaches around, grabs his arm, and then the fire starts to go up his arm.
Yeah.
And then the camera pans and you see it's Leo Rossi. You see the actor.
In the real shot, right?
Yeah, in the shot. You want it all tied together, and then of course you replace him with the stunt guy.
Yeah.
Going out the thing. Leo didn't want to put his arm on fire. He said, "I'll only do it if you do it." So I had to put my arm on fire.
Oh, no. Okay. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you go okay? That was, but
Well,
it
yeah,
convinced
well,
him that, yeah, it's not right.
And then you still have car stunts. You have stuff in here.
The scene where Claudia Christian is handcuffed to the wheel of the car,
Yeah.
careening down the
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, did you guys ever see a Jackie Chan movie called Police Story?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember at the beginning of the film, there's the raid on a shanty town by the police,
Right.
and they're crashing through the
All
hill
of it,
and
right,
everything.
right.
Yeah.
At one point during it, a woman is handcuffed to the steering wheel of a car. I thought that car was going to go down the hill.
Okay.
Okay? But all it turned out was she was handcuffed to the car. Okay, to the steering wheel of
Okay,
the
so
car.
that was kind of your.
All right, so I said, I want to see what I didn't see in Police Story 1. So we contrived a scene. Larry wrote it, but it was a contrived scene to get Claudia Christian handcuffed to the steering wheel of the car.
It looks so. I mean, it is really dangerous looking. I mean, it's,
Well, the danger, there was one moment that was dangerous, which is where the car goes through the intersection, and one car hits the front quarter panel, and another car hits the rear quarter panel. That was while she's there.
Yeah.
But she's not dangling. The problem is she's secured to the car.
Right.
So if one of those cars missed their mark, she couldn't get out of the way.
Right.
You see, it's a different thing than
Right, that's true.
than dangling.
Right.
So it's yes, and we had protection on her free leg, the one that we wanted it to look precariously going close to the rear tire. It was wired. You don't see the wire, but it was wired.
Right.
But still, we were always worried that the wire could snap or something could happen.
Right.
That was the only thing that was really a concern. She was not steering the car. There was a driver in there.
Oh, okay.
There was a driver in the car who was covered.
Okay.
And you can't see him. That's
Right,
the
right.
idea. You don't see him.
Sure.
And
I
so,
didn't see him.
She seems like kind of a rough and tumble gal too. Like she did.
Claudia Christian?
Yeah,
Not
like
in the least.
No.
Really?
No, it was really terrible. She
Here on Monster Party.
yeah, no, she was not rough and tumble.
No,
She
not at
was-
all. Huh?
She was a bitch. And,
Oh, all
and
right.
made our lives miserable.
That's terrible.
Okay. Oh, well, she's
She
been
was
in the movie.
I can't tell you, but she was one of I don't even know if there were two actors I can point to, but she was the only one I ever dealt with in any of my films who was just totally, just total bitch.
Wow.
Total bitch.
Wow.
Well, she's great in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's
You wouldn't know
worth.
it.
No.
Yeah.
I had no idea.